Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Monday, February 28th, 2022, and today I will be sharing true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find everything about the podcast on the podcast page, which is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO. Excuse me. And there you can find all the episodes and links and ways to contact me. Whether you have topic suggestions or comments or questions on shows, or you would like to share your own stories or experiences or others that you trust, or you would like to come onto the show to do that instead of just writing them in, you can also let me know about that. And if we can arrange so that you can join me on Discord, then we can easily do that. And if we need to, we can do a separate episode without the stream if we need to. But I do prefer to have these as streams on Discord, just for people that are able to come and listen live. So, but anyway, so I believe that covers it for today, as far as any announcements go. As far as this week goes, I will be having or doing more true ghost stories from the web tomorrow and Wednesday. Thursday, I'll be doing a book review. I haven't decided on which ones yet. I learned my lesson last week. I will have at least two, just in case one does not take a half an hour. And then Friday, I'll be having a returning guest, Jen Hawkins, to talk with me about cryptids. We had that planned a little while back, and it didn't work out. But so we're going to do that, because that's one of those subjects where it takes a lot more than just one show to ever really get into all of that, I think. So, and yeah, with that, I think that does cover everything. So, let me get to these stories here. I'm trying something new today. I got a second screen for my PC. So, it's taking a little while to get used to, but I do like it overall. So, we'll get going on these stories here. So this one says, about a year ago, I was standing in my kitchen in a rented house. I lived there about 2 years. And I was looking out into the living room at my cat, who was on the body, and she thought, this looks like the house we lived in when the girls were kids. And that looks like Midnight, the cat we had then. The girls are indeed still growing up in this house, and the cat is Midnight. It was like older me inhabited current me. But if that were so, why would I have a memory of the event? Then a week or so later, my family and I were driving on the freeway in Southern California. The 110 freeway, in fact, the oldest in Southern California. So I didn't realize it until later when I looked it up. All of a sudden, I was looking out at cars, and they were all old. Oops. Hang on. Let me just check on this. Make sure we're done with it here. Okay. Okay, we're good here. Just had to check on that real quick. So let me get back to the document here. So, okay. So, all of a sudden, I was looking out at cars, and they were all old, like 1950s old. Not one new car anywhere. And the freeway looked old and unmodernized as well. And a minute or so later, it was back to normal, the present day. I do not do drugs, don't have any mental illnesses, and am a pretty normal person. I wasn't drinking either. Nothing like that has happened since. Has anyone else had issues like this? I've looked up information on time glitches and haven't found much, just a couple of anecdotal stories. I would very much like to know more about similar happenings and theories as to what they are and how they come about. And that's where that story ends. The second part, I'd heard similar stories before. The part with the person being in a car and they're driving, or at least riding in a car, going down the road, and everything changes appearance to look like either the past, usually the past, but once in a while even the future. But the first part I hadn't heard before until this story, where it seemed like an older version of excuse me, of the writer somehow inhabited her body and mind at the present time. It's even hard to explain that. So I thought that was really interesting. And I'm wondering if that was, sounds like they had two experiences. I wonder if they ever had any more. If maybe some people have these things that happen every so often. It'd be interesting to find out, of course. That's where that story ends, so it's hard to know, but it does seem like time is different, or can be different, around them, which is interesting. Makes you wonder if, in addition to being maybe sensitive to paranormal in terms of other beings, whether it's ghosts or cryptids or any of that, if there's certain people that can somehow pick up on other times through some kind of other sensitivity that I don't know a name for exactly off the top of my head. So, but excuse me. That's where that story ends. I will get to the next story here in a moment. So far, overall, this is 2 screens is not too bad. It'll just take a while to get used to. But I've already said that. But anyway, okay. So this next story says, after doing a deep clean of the basement of my fiance's childhood home, which is now mine as well, I spotted a music box in a cabinet, but didn't touch it. A few weeks later, late at night, it loudly chimed one note and scared the heck out of me. A little time went by, and I forgot all about it. I bumped up against said cabinet while dusting, and the music box chimed. An explanation, I thought. Tonight, it chimed again, louder than ever, sounding like it came from the opposite side of the room, rather than the cabinet directly next to my bedside, where it is. I'm somewhat skeptical about paranormal stuff, but this gives me an indescribably eerie feeling, like a hello from the other side. It only happens when I'm alone, or my fiance is sleeping, but I don't feel threatened in any way. No one has passed away here to my knowledge, but my fiance's dad passed away over a decade ago in the hospital. His death anniversary just passed, and 3 of his 5 children have been or are getting married in a short time. As much as I think I'm losing my mind, I wonder. He passed fairly young. Oops. Oh, I missed a spot here. I wonder if it's him. He passed fairly young. Just a whole fragment there. So it's very open to other explanations. So that one, if it wasn't for the fact that they heard, the writer heard the sound of the music box in another location, I would say maybe it was just the music box somehow, some mechanism, some part of the mechanics of the thing, maybe maybe making it go off, but I don't know if it's the sound is happening at other places. Oh, okay. Um, because it just makes me wonder if it is some kind of a spirit, or if it was. I wonder if it was always in that cabinet. Hello, Mike. I see you there in chat. Thank you for being here. Just having this extra screen, and for those that don't know, I use Windows Magnifier, and there's an overlap in the two screens in the display somehow with the magnifier going. So it's a little bit tricky, but overall it seems to be going well. So, but yeah, I don't know how to explain that story, obviously, but it's interesting that the writer doesn't feel any threat from whoever was making the music box play. Or I also wonder if somehow going back to the time thing, if it was in a different position before, and the writer was hearing it in that other position somehow. But again, I don't know. So, but neat little story there. So I'll go on to the next story here. Let me see here. Okay. So this story says, I've never used this website before. I'm sorry if this is long. It says, I was coming back from school 2 days ago, my usual way back. The path is in a really secluded area. I rarely see anyone there. It was bright out, around 2 p.m., and the weather wasn't bad at all. I think I was scrolling through an app on my phone when I got a really weird feeling in my stomach. I was at the bottom of the path, and when I looked up, I saw a tall man. He was like 10 or 15 meters away. And he immediately looked so out of place that I couldn't believe it. He wore this hat, which was, they mentioned the name of a hat here I'd never heard of before, and a long black trench coat. I wonder if it was like a fedora. He was also holding something in his left hand, which honestly looked like a gun, but I didn't stick around long enough to see or to know exactly what it was. I can't lie, when I first saw him, for a split second, I thought it was my dad. But he bounced at this speed walking pace really energetically and did this odd hand gesture, almost like what you do before you pray. He moved his right hand up, down, and side to side. I don't know how many times, because I turned back around and ran past like I never had before. I cannot begin to describe how out of place he looked. No one goes out dressed like that, especially around my area in this season. It was so colorful and bright outside, but he looked so dull. I've heard about it before, but I'm not sure if this could be that Ant-Man or myself could have crossed worlds or some other dimension unintentionally. Maybe he didn't see me, but I saw him. We might have even seen each other. When I spoke to some of my family and friends, they told me they've experienced similar things where they've seen a person who literally came out of nowhere and looked like they didn't belong. Whatever it was, I hope that maybe someone can help with what I saw that day. So that's an interesting one. Sounds like a um, middle of the day sighting of a hat man, possibly, or at least a figure in black. Hello, Eyes Open. Thank you all for being here. I'm guessing you all can hear me because I'm not seeing anything about not being able to hear me, so that's good. But anyway, yeah, so just read a story about basically someone seeing this figure in black or dark clothes with a dark hat. Oh, good. Okay. That's what the podcast is there for. If you missed the beginning of the show, no problem. Good. I'm glad you can hear me. Thank you. So yeah, it seems like they didn't say in the story, but it almost seems like maybe it was warmer weather outside, like summer, and so that's why they were thinking the person didn't belong there, and like a trench coat and hat and everything, and all in black, basically. And then they said that other people that they knew, family members, had seen other strange things in the area too. That always makes me wonder. I guess someone could maybe write off one experience if they really wanted to, but when you have several people having different experiences in the same area, that's always interesting. So I thought that was a neat story. Good thing that nothing else really happened. I don't know. It seemed like the writer was pretty freaked out by the appearance of this guy. I mean, I'm wondering what the hand gesture was about. It seemed like the writer was describing almost someone making the sign of the cross somehow, several times. But yeah, I don't know about that one. But let's see how we're doing okay, we're doing good for time. So I will get on with the next story here. This says, this happened at around 9:30 p.m. I was going to go out to take out the trash, and I asked my sister to tag along with me and bring my dog along so that he could go pee. I stepped out first, and something bright immediately caught my eye, and it looked like a rectangular, colorful, glitchy screen. I was ready to brush it off, as my eyes just tricking me. So I quickly looked around for the source of the light, thinking maybe it was caused by car headlights. But there wasn't a moving car or a person in sight. Shortly after, my sister stepped out with my dog, and my dog completely freaked out and started lunging in the direction of the light while barking and growling. My sister said, "Oh, there's just someone outside." I pushed my dog inside the house and told my sister to keep him inside and that I'd be right back. When I checked where the light once was, it was gone. I walked down the stairs and called my sister on the phone as I made my way towards the dumpster and explained to her what I saw. She then told me I had just seen a man's head and it looked like he was just walking by. She then paused and realized that you wouldn't be able to see anyone walking from that angle because we lived on the second floor. She recalled seeing a white man wearing a hoodie and disappearing behind the column. From the perspective of the door, we are unable to see anyone straight ahead of us. Plus, it's nearly pitch black outside, so even if you could, you still wouldn't have any clear visibility. So in order for a man to even be visible, he would have to be somehow taller than the floor of the second floor. So basically, we both have no clue what we saw. My sister saw an oddly placed man, while I saw a weird, glitchy screen in the same exact spot at the same exact time. I tried looking around online to check if anyone has seen anything similar, but I couldn't find much. This honestly isn't our first time seeing things at the same time. From a young age, I would hear and see things, weird things, and my sister would just hear them. My dog has also let me know I'm not just seeing things that aren't there. I always check for his reaction. And that's where that story ends, and that is obviously a smart person there. Always checking on how their pet is reacting there. As to what they saw, that's very interesting that they saw different things at the same time. And the whole idea of a screen, I guess maybe they mean like a light, just a light in the shape of a screen. But a rectangular light like that is strange. I wonder if it was somehow making the image of the man, but maybe the writer saw through it and his sister didn't. I don't know. So I thought that was a neat story. Pretty amazing. But yeah, just a screen, an idea of a screen. I'm guessing, I don't know. They didn't say it was like it had any kind of a frame, so that's why I'm wondering if it was just a light, a flickering or glitching light. So yeah. Eyes Open says animals can always sense what we can't. Their abilities go way beyond our limited senses. Definitely. I've noticed that with Logan. I've gotten confirmation of weird stuff going on around here at different times in my apartment, so I definitely agree. So let's see, okay. I'll get through at least 2 more stories here. And then we'll see where we're at for time from there. So let's see here. Let me find the next one. And okay. This one says, this memory is very short but quite vivid. I'm at home on the balcony watching the street. I was tall enough to be able to see over the balcony railing. And that's the first strange thing. I moved to another house when I was just 6. So it can't be a memory I made from a real experience. Anyway, I saw many people celebrating, and a couple that was getting married. I can almost hear the noises coming from people. Everyone seems very happy. I remember all the details. The bride's dress, the flowers, the neighbor's house. But I can't remember any faces. Not long ago, now I'm 22, I told my mom this, and she was amazed. She told me that what I described was very similar to her wedding. The dress, the flowers, the crowd. It was all as I described. I don't know how it is possible, but I remember something happened before my birth. Also, this memory does not feel like others. It feels more mystical. Like, let me see. It feels like I was alone, and I wasn't really there. Like a ghost, to put it simply. I don't know how to describe it. I'm usually a very, very logical and rational person. I don't believe in magic or the paranormal. But I have to admit that this experience is very strange, and I just can't find a rational explanation. So, I have heard similar stories before, but not very often. Um, but they are out there. But that is an amazing story there. Um, as Open says, traveling through time within memories connected to his bloodline. Interesting. Yeah, I'm, and that's an interesting idea too. I see. I had no idea where to go with that. If it was just like you said there in the chat, um, traveling through time within memories connected to the bloodline. Um, I don't know if it was some kind of if they were somehow a spirit, as they kind of mentioned, that somehow was in the area when their parents were getting married, um, and somehow they were there for that for whatever reason. Um, it's really, I thought that was an amazing story, and it was nice that it was a good one, that it was a good experience, and confirmation of what this person remembers from before they were born. So it wasn't just something that they kind of thought maybe was weird. They got confirmation, at least very close to it, from their mom. So yeah, yep, confirmation like that is so huge and rarely gotten. Yeah, agreed. As Open. Yeah, I love that. I love when that confirmation is there. I don't necessarily look for that in every story, but whenever I find that, I am always happy about that, because it's nice to have that, and just to see that that does happen here and there. So I'll go through one more story here before I stop, and then we'll go from there. Then we'll be back tomorrow night. So let me see here. Let me find this one. Okay. This one says, so about 10 years ago, I worked for a big department store. I worked in the stock department, and we start early to get all the stock out before the store opened. So this happened around 5 a.m. It was just my friend and I at the time, working on one of the floors, putting out stock. The store had not opened yet, and no one else was on our floor. He told me I had not slept and been out all night drinking. After a while, he then kept telling me he could see a black shadow moving to different corners of the floor, and he seemed shook up. I brushed it off and told him it's probably the alcohol in his system making him see things, until we both went to a tote which contained stock that needed to go out. We both bent down to grab things out of it, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a black mass or shadow move past us from behind. I was instantly stunned and turned around, as did my friend, who was next to me. And my friend said, "Did you see that?" It looked like a solid black mass that was quite large. It looked bigger than me, and I'm 5'8". I couldn't believe we saw it at the same time. And we can't really explain it. Could it be my imagination from what he told me prior? Or does anyone know what it could have been? And that's where that one ends. I guess imagination is always a possibility, but when you got two people, again, seeing the same thing, same time, same place, I don't know. I doubt that. But neat little story there. So, let me see here. Yeah, I think that's where we'll end it today. Yeah, eyes open. Could be a suggested perception. Could be more. Who knows? Right. Yeah, so that's where we'll end it for today. Thank you all for being here. And thank you all for staying as I kind of work through this and try something new out for the first time with my setup here. It was not too bad. I think I'll get used to this. So, but and also I do want to say, different people in the community of people that listen to the show, friends of mine and family, help me get all of this. I get this extra TV screen, and help me get it all set up and everything. So, as always, I want to thank everyone for being part of this community and for supporting this podcast, because I couldn't do it on my own, I don't think. So, thank you all again. Tomorrow night and Wednesday night will be more true ghost stories from the web, and we'll be going from there. So, thank you all for all your support, and have a good night. And I will talk to you all in the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal.